factory that we see is over 60 years old, and it's quite a unique, the manufacturing process and the equipment to produce the product is exceptionally unique. Is one of the key areas why our product is successful.
So when they go in and log the new growth forests for hardwood planks for the building industry, for every 1 tonne of plankable hardwood, there's about 6 tonne of waste. 3 tonne of that we can't use, but the rest we can, and it's your really good A-grade hardwoods. And what we do is we wood chip them into 19mm wood chips.
So there's just 2 ingredients in WeatherTex. You've got our native hardwood timber and a small addition of paraffin wax, just to give our product better weatherability and stand up to the exterior conditions in Australia. So these are the mason guns, and it's what really makes WeatherTex a unique process. These guns, installed in 1939, take our raw chip and eject high pressure steam at 1000 psi to pre-cook the chip, and then violently eject it out the bottom of the vessel to pull apart all of the fibres, the base fibres, that we can then mat together into a board. This process will also remove most of the sugars and starches from the raw timber, and this is what makes WeatherTex very termite resistant. So after the gun process, we're left with quite a coarse fibre. And what we need to do is grind that down using our refining process here. And how they work, they have 2 large grinding wheels that roll the fibre across the cutting plates and reduce the fibre distribution and size limits down, which increases the ability of the fibre to create strong and stable hardwood. After the refining process, a slurry of fibre and water flows up onto the board forming machine. Here, all of our excess water is drained through a screen, and it forms what we call a wet lap, which is essentially making a really thick piece of paper. After forming, the wet lap receives a light press by these roll presses and continues its journey down to the hot press. The board is fully formed at this point and is trimmed with high pressure water jets in preparation for hot pressing. At the pressing end of production, we have the wet lap being delivered to each opening in the press. Now we have 20 openings for board to be pressed, and it's a 24-minute pressing cycle. In this cycle, you get a large mechanical squeeze to get as much water out of the board as possible. The press then sits and cooks for another 20 minutes or so, and that process is what liquefies the lignins in the natural timber. Now, the WeatherTex process doesn't use any binders or resins or glues. What we rely on is the natural lignin present in the timber, and that in the hot press flows through all of the particles in the board. And at the end of the pressing process, that heat chemically sets the lignin and rebuilds the board back into its original state, just like a tree is held together. In each opening here, what you've got is a screen, followed by your wet lap, followed by the press plate. Now this plate is what presses into our boards, our Woodsman and rough sawn and smooth features on all of our surface, so we can have a full range of different surface products. Once the boards are stacked and graded in the hall, they need to be returned to their equilibrium moisture content. And how we do that is using a humidification machine that has a soft rubber roller under pressure, forcing water up and into the board to get our products back to a nice and stable 8% moisture content. Once humidified, the backs of the boards are planed with a helical planer here, which brings our products down to their nominal 9.5 thickness. Once humidified and planed, this hardboard is now ready to be used in any of our different products. We can cut it into planks, we can process it into architectural panels, and then we can process them further through our pre-priming lines. For cutting our architectural panels to size, we can use a fully programmable cross-cut saw here called the Gibbon. For all of our plank products, board is processed through our plank painting line. Here at the in-feed, full sheets are fed through a set of gang saws and stripped into their different sized planks. The full sheets are stripped down into planks, which then run through a set of moulders to give out various different profiles. A water-based primer is then applied to the board using a vacuum box process. The wet primer is then cured through a set of infrared ovens, making it touch dry. The boards then enter a second curing oven to finalise the curing process. At WeatherTex, we take quality very seriously, and in our quality testing laboratories, we take regular board samples to be tested against Australian and international standards for quality assurance of all of our products. And here we are in our final stop in the WeatherTex factory. This is the massive WeatherTex warehouse where all of our products are stored, ready to be shipped all across Australia and all across the world to our customers.